It's another edition of the Wrap-Up Show with John Schaefer and Jim Russell, presented by Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. Before we get going, should the Padres consider trading Luis Campusano? Remember to subscribe. We've got year-round Padres content for you, even during the lockout. Look at Jim. Hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell. If you like these videos, we'd appreciate the thumbs up. And you got to follow us on Twitter as well. We've got Padres content for you there, at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Let's tell you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz, before we get going. Because if you are shopping for auto, home, renters, or life insurance here in San Diego, there's only one place to turn. It's to a San Diegan who's a huge Padres fan. It's Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. He's a huge supporter of this channel. And if you like this channel, please support him as well. If you own an electric vehicle, he's lowered his rates on select electric vehicle models. He's been doing this for over a decade. He's got great customer service and communication. Again, if you're a supporter of the Wrap-Up Show and you have any insurance needs, please talk through it with Mark. You can click the link down below in the description. He can help you and your family with your insurance needs.
All his information always is above my head throughout the entire video. His phone number and his email address, mnimitz@farmersagent.com, mnimitz@farmersagent.com. When you reach out to him, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
Should the Padres consider trading one of their top prospects, their top catching prospect, Luis Campusano? The reason that this is somewhat intriguing right now is because of their payroll and their lack of flexibility. So could they tie Campusano to Eric Hosmer? We've been talking about Eric Hosmer. Or what if you could acquire a Matt Olson and you had to move Luis Campusano? So again, for the chat down below, we'd love to get your feedback on this as we get going, and make sure to stick around for this entire video as well. But the question, Jim, tonight is, should the Padres consider trading their top catching prospect, Luis Campusano? Why or why not?
I think they should consider it. We've seen what they've done in this short offseason so far. They acquired another catcher. They have too many catchers. You have 4 catchers right now. When your top prospects is a catcher, we've heard that maybe the Padres don't view him as a catcher. Maybe they're not so happy with how he receives, and his bat, I think, plays absolutely. But is he just going to be an everyday DH? I mean, maybe, but you're also dealing with the unknown of, does his bat really truly translate? You might think it right now because of what he's done in the minors. Last year, I think you advocated for him to be brought up because this team needed help power-wise.
100%.
He was crushing it in the minors. He had these mammoth home runs like every other day, and we were all watching these videos, and it's like, where's Luis Campusano? Well, if he's one of your top prospects at a position that is kind of clogged right now, and you don't really view him as an everyday catcher, especially with this pitching rotation of Darvish, Snell, Musgrove, Clevenger, whoever else, Gore potentially in the future, Weathers, Paddock, Morahone. Like, if you don't view him as a guy that can catch every single one of those pitchers, and you are a little iffy on, does his bat truly translate to the big league level, maybe you want to consider trading high, like the value of him right now, instead of bringing him up and maybe he struggles and he's not that great catching, and his bat, he kind of goes into slumps, and do you want to risk that and then lose all his trade value, or do you want to sell high right now because you are looking to get rid of Eric Hosmer and potentially attach him with Eric Hosmer? Like, you don't have to go out and get Matt Olson for Luis Campusano. I don't think
that's not going to happen anyway.
I don't think it would happen. No. So what else does this team need? Well, they need another power bat, proven power bat, and they need a left fielder. So maybe you find an outfielder that you could trade Luis Campusano for. And look, if Luis Campusano goes off and becomes a stud somewhere else, okay. But I mean, they need a left fielder. Like, they have 4 catchers right now, and they'd have no left fielders. And that's the problem.
It's easy for us to say that, but we're the first ones to jump on Twitter when a Padre is traded and then outperforms his time. Yeah, I mean, you're the first one to do it, and that's fine. 100%. And that's what we do. And I'm with you. You can't always be concerned about a player that you trade away burning you. The question is a good one. The one you brought up is his 906 OPS from last year in AAA in the PCL, or what used to be the PCL. Will that hold in the big leagues? And there's reason to believe that it could, because on the scout scale of power, he's like a 60 guy, right? The 20 to 80 scout scale. People believe his bat like legitimately plays well above major league average. But the PCL is elevation city. So when you have a 906 OPS, there's no assurance you're going to have a 906 OPS in the big league. Shoot, there's guys with 900 OPSs in AAA that have 650 OPSs in the big league. So you're right. Will the bat play at the big league level? I think is question number one. Here's question number two. Is Jorge Alfaro just a veteran Luis Campusano? So, like, did they acquire Alfaro saying, you know what, he does the same things that Campusano does? Now, Alfaro's never hit for power in the big leagues, but he's got a lot of big league service time and he can catch. So he's more versatile. And you got to ask yourself, if Campusano isn't a catcher, is his bat plus enough to be your DH? Like, you got to have a real plus bat to be a full-time DH in the big leagues, right?
Right.
And I would say this before I would move him, and I'd move him in a heartbeat in a Matt Olson deal. But before I wanted to attach him to an Eric Hosmer deal, I want to see if his bat plays. And don't tell me that, well, we saw him in 2020. He had like an at bat. Oh, we saw him in 2021.
One game.
Yeah, we saw him in 2021. We saw him for like 50 plate appearances.
He did hit a home run in his first game, though.
I remember that in Oakland.
And he hurt his hand.
Right. But I mean, I need to see, give me 200 plate appearances. That's what I'm thinking. Now, again, if I can get Olson, if I can get, a major league productive outfielder, I'm with you. I mean, you have to consider everything. Sometimes you got to get rid of good players to get great players or better players. But I don't love the idea of attaching him to Eric Hosmer without knowing what his bat truly looks like. And shoot, yeah, he hasn't been a great receiver yet, but he's also only 23 years of age. There's no guarantee that the guy can't catch in the big league. So for me, it's a very big question mark. Again, if I can get better at the big league level right now, in left field, to your point, at first base with Matt Olson, 100% yes. If I'm tying him to Eric Hosmer, am I trying to get rid of a bad deal and then make it a worse deal? Like, what if you get rid of Hosmer and Campusano is a legit bat in the big leagues for the next 5 or 10 years? Doesn't that make the Hosmer deal even worse? Because now you attach Campusano to it on the way out.
But it also depends on who you get back. Like,
true.
Is this just like a salary dump? And then because it's a salary dump, you have to attach a top prospect? Like, I don't think that would be the case. If the Cubs, we talked about this, have been linked to having interest in Eric Hosmer and potentially prospect attached to him, maybe not. I don't know about the money issue there, but the name we brought up, Wilson Contreras. Would you do, and this is just a total hypothetical, Hosmer, Campusano, you eat $40 million of Eric Hosmer's deal for Wilson Contreras? Now, will the Cubs do that deal?
That's a really interesting deal. So from the Cubs' perspective, they still have to pay nominal amounts for Hosmer, right? Like $20 million over 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So a very small amount.
Mm-hmm.
They're also getting a prospect catcher in return for their veteran catcher that has had moments. Obviously, I think is a solid offensive weapon, but it's coming off a year in which it was an okay year. And if I'm the Cubs, am I making that move? If I'm the Padres, am I making that move? If I'm the Padres, I'm making that move. Yeah, I am. I think I got to make that move because you're freeing up first base. You're improving probably at the catcher's position at the big league level as well.
Right.
And yeah, you're giving up a future catcher DH, but you just got better at catcher. You just got better at first base by getting rid of Eric Hosmer. So why would you do that deal if you're the Cubs? Okay, you're rebuilding. You've got a Campusano for the future. You're hoping he develops into Contreras. And you've got a first baseman for nothing. I mean, you got Eric Hosmer who can plug in there. He can play 100-plus games. He can platoon, and you're paying him $4 million a year.
And then now you would have to move Cronenworth to first, hypothetically, right? And you free up a spot for CJ Abrams at second.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe I go out and I acquire a first baseman.
Or you sign a first baseman. Yeah. You sign Schwarber to a deal. I don't know if he can play first base every day.
Right. Yeah, I don't think Nelson Cruz can play first base every day.
No, because there's the DH spot.
Yep.
But there'd be options there. You can
Contreras,
find a first baseman for the cheap that would give you almost the exact same production as Eric Hosmer.
Right. And the Padres have not had a 4-WAR catcher. You know what I mean? Like, so you're really upgrading at the backstop position, and then you're probably upgrading at first by plugging anyone in. I mean, Eric Hosmer's a replacement level player at first. So if you move, you're right. I mean, Cronenworth to me isn't a prototypical first baseman, but who cares? If you move him over and he's a 3-WAR guy or 4, you get Abrams up and as a rookie, he's a 2-WAR player. You're +2 in WAR by getting rid of Eric Hosmer. You're more than that. I mean, you're whatever you are behind the home plate, +2, 3, 4. You're whatever you are at second, because you moved Hosmer off for. I mean, you're +4 or 5 WAR making a deal like that. I don't know why the Cubs would be motivated to do that, other than
how much is Wilson Contreras being paid? I don't have it in front of me.
It's a great question. I'll tell you right now.
I don't think he's paid a lot.
Contreras this past year was paid 6.6. This next year is his final arbitration year. So bump it $2 million. He's going to make 8.5. I'm making it up, right? He'll make between $8 and $10 million.
Okay.
And then he's a free agent. So you're getting a year of Contreras for 5 years. That's why you make the deal if you're the Cubs. Because you got to be thinking about, you're not thinking about 2022. I mean, you are, but you're thinking 23, 24. I mean, I like it, Jim. I mean, I do. I think it's something that might work for both parties. It's not a home run.
Because we want to win right
for the Cubs
now, right? Like it's about winning next year. It's not about like 2023 or 2024 if you're in the Luis Campusano camp, as far as like as a fan of him. You want to win right now. And you have Contreras for 1 more year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would it be kind of a lopsided deal from the Padres' perspective, from the money they would have to pay from Hosmer, and a top prospect in Luis Campusano is controllable?
For 1 year of Contreras?
It probably might be that. But to get rid of Hosmer, I think it would be worth it.
Yeah.
And
I don't think
to get the offense from the catching position in Contreras, like, and you know what you could do? Honestly, you could put Jorge Alfaro at first base. Like, he's played first base with the Marlins. He's played the outfield, which is crazy. And he's played catcher. So you have multiple options at first. You can even put Jerkson Profar at first base. And then when you move Jake Cronenworth over to first base, you can put Ha-Seong Kim or Profar at second. So you have, and those guys would give you probably the same or better stats and numbers and contributions as Eric Hosmer. Maybe not like in the clubhouse, because we know players gravitate towards Eric Hosmer in the clubhouse. But on the field, production-wise, it would be the same if you just plugged in those players that I just said. And oh, by the way, none of those guys are just like a cancer to this payroll.
I think this deal, and by the way, I don't think it's a lopsided deal for the Cubs. I think if anything, the deal probably favors the Padres, although I do think both teams get what they need in the moment, which is the Cubs 4 or 5 years of Campusano, because they're not in win now mode. Plus, they're not taking on any salary in Hosmer. I mean, Contreras is going to make $8 million. Hosmer is going to make $4 or $5 million a year under our theory, where the Padres eat $30 or $40 million. It probably comes down to how much are you going to eat? Right. Is it 40? That's a big number. 10 million a year
I get
for the next. Actually, not only that, Jim. I mean, you could argue it's 40. You're paying 40 million plus Contreras' salary for 1 year Contreras, plus getting rid of Campusano. You're basically paying $48 million for 1 year Contreras. Now you could say, well, yeah, but we're getting rid of Hosmer, and that's also part of it. But it's a steep price. To your point, maybe that makes it less desirable for AJ Preller. By the way, Contreras has played 35 games in left field in his career. Now, he did it in 2016, a lot of it.
How many games has he caught the last 4 years?
Well, in his career, he has caught nearly 600 games.
Okay.
So he's catching, like this past year, 112 games behind no plate. Big number.
I would take it. And then you mix and match. Oh, by the way, they have Austin Nola to play first base as well, too. And his knees have been a problem. So is Austin Nola like a true catcher? I don't think so. You can put him at first base. Like,
true.
You have
he
so
lacks
options.
Power too. You know, like it's not worse power than Hosmer, except this past year it kind of was.
If you bundled at first base Jorge Alfaro, Jake Cronenworth, Austin Nola, Jerkson Profar, and those 4 guys combined when they play first base give you 25 homers. Like that's
Right.
what you're talking about here. You're not talking about just one player. You're talking about a contribution of 4 or 5 guys at first base next year if they got rid of Hosmer that I think would be better offensively than what Hosmer's giving you right now.
I like it, and I like the idea where you're basically taking a veteran catcher that is running out of control. Like, it's not just Contreras. Like, if we looked around the big leagues, and yeah, can you get a veteran catcher back for Campusano that you can plug in at the big league level and move
He's a
Eric
former
Hosmer?
all-star too. Like I know all-star games, like, okay, great. But he's been a
That's a good
big piece of
catcher.
the Cubs.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, even last year, I mean, you could say, well, he hit 230, whatever. He was a 4.1 WAR player. That's a big number.
I mean,
So
what was his OPS?
his OPS a year ago. Let's see, Wilson Contreras a year ago. His OPS is 778, which is fine.
That's better than anything the Padres had.
Yeah, exactly. What was the OPS of the Padres catching position this year?
Like
690.
500.
Yeah,
That's
690 is probably high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean his career OPS is 807. The Padres don't have that catcher.
No.
I mean, come on,
No.
they don't have that at first base.
And to just hope that Austin Nola can produce what he did in 20 games in 2020, like for a full season, it's just not realistic. Yep. You know what I mean?
I'm with you. All right, what do you guys think? I mean, chat, are you moving Luis Campusano? And if so, for what? What do you think of Jim's idea? Campusano and Hosmer and money for the return of Wilson Contreras. Hit us up in the reply section down below, and we'll make sure to get to those, of course, as always. Also, want to remind you, the way we do these podcasts and the Wrap-Up Show YouTube channel is on StreamYard. We've got a very special offer for our viewers tonight, and that is 2 weeks free, plus no credit card required. You can try StreamYard just like we've been using over the last 3 months or so. We had never used it previously. If you've ever wanted to start a YouTube channel, you use StreamYard. It's affordable. If you've ever wanted to podcast, you can use StreamYard. If you want a video chat, that's what StreamYard is for. Jim, you know more about it than I do, but this is super simple to set up, and you can literally use StreamYard and same day be podcasting or streaming or video casting or whatever.
Yeah, if you're watching us and you're a big Padres fan and you want to do your own, like you have thoughts and you want to do your own podcast with your buddies, StreamYard is the way to go. It's simple, it's easy. It's like a one click and you're ready to go. You can create your own graphics, you can create your own thumbnails, you can have, tickers across the bottom of the screen. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. And just click the link below, giving you a great deal right now. You can stream on multiple platforms. You can turn this into an audio file and post it on, any type of streaming, Apple, Google, whatever you want, for a podcast. And yeah, it's extremely easy to do if you want to start. So go to StreamYard right now.
Absolutely. If you support the Wrap-Up Show, please support our sponsors, StreamYard. The link is down below. And Mark Nimitz, of course, at Farmers Insurance. He's got special offers, again, down below in that link. If you have any insurance needs, we ask that you consider Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. Again, reply down below. Should the Padres consider moving Luis Campusano? And remember, you got to subscribe to this channel if you want year-round Padres content. That's why we're here. Hit that button down below that Jim is pointing to. Hit the notification bell. You'll be notified when we have new videos. Like these videos by hitting the thumbs up and follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. And until next time, this has been the Wrap-Up Show presented by Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance.